right. We will go ahead and get started. First of all, welcome to the 2021 first edition of the Fall Banquet. We have another one tomorrow that will consist of our girls golf, cross country, and volleyball. And of course tonight we're recognizing our football and cheerleading and emeralds. So welcome, thanks for being here this evening. I won't do much talking at all. I'm going to leave it to our coaches to do most of the talking this evening and recognize our kids. But I did want to thank all the parents who worked concession stands this year. We did things a little bit different this year, where we had basically parents from each of the teams work, and money went to each of our programs. So it was a little bit different, but it went really well. So I think we're going to, at least for the time being, continue to do that. So thank you for those of you who did work and will continue to work those concessions moving forward. And again, that money goes directly to your child's program. So thank you very much. I'm going to take just a minute to thank all of our Sports Booster officers. Hopefully I don't forget any of them as I name them off here. Our Sports Booster officers spend a lot of time setting up the concessions, cleaning concessions, doing things for the banquet. We have meetings every couple of months. They put in a lot of time and they get no compensation at all for it. And we greatly appreciate everything that they do for our kids. So wanted to name them really quick. We've got Deanne Squires, Christy Fleeman, Laura Hunter, Rob Coleman, and Andrea Fritsch. So nice round of applause for our sports boosters. Before we get going with the coaches talking, I wanted to take just a minute to invite Brian Schwent to the stand. He's going to do our prayer for this evening, so I know he is fired up about that. So come on up, Brian.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. We gather tonight to reflect upon the talents you've given us and that we have enjoyed through our sports program. We ask you to continue to bless our teachers, coaches, and all our family and friends as they guide us in developing these talents. Help us, Lord, to remember that it's our responsibility to use the divine gifts you have given us. Teach us what it means to be real winners in your eyes. Real winners have learned to always do their best. Real winners have learned not to quit. Real winners have learned not to blame others. Real winners have respect for their friends, their coaches, and themselves. Real winners have learned that God is one who gave them their abilities. Keep us safe and healthy as we celebrate our physical and mental skills in sports. You, Lord, are our inspiration, our teacher, and our protector. Amen. Father, Son.
Good job, Brian. Very well written. Good job. Okay, basically the way this works, guys, is it's going to go relatively quickly. We'll have the football coaches get up and talk a little bit about their season. They're going to go first. Each one of them are going to talk at least a little bit. Then we'll follow up with cheerleading, and we'll end the night with our emeralds at that point. So without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and invite actually I wanted to introduce our coaches before we do that. Sorry, he was getting ready to get up there. We'll start at the far table there, and you can just raise your hand as I call your name. I'm going to introduce all of our coaches here this evening. In the leopard skin there, we've got our head, she's our head fall and winter cheer coach, and that's Shelly Dowse. To her right is our fall assistant cheer coach, and that is Ashley Wiener. Sitting at that table also is our head emeralds coach, and that's Ashley Kreider. She coaches our fall emeralds. Next table over, the handsome one there. Ooh, who am I kidding? One in the bald one there? Okay. Big guy. He is one of our, normally he would be one of our freshman coaches, but honestly our football coaches coach all of our kids. So his position is freshman football coach, but really he's an assistant football coach, and that's Jared Bonnell. To his left, our other freshman football coach, really assistant football coach, is Cody Schwent. Coach Bonnell's right is normally our JV coach. Well, he was a JV coach this year, but also an assistant, Adam Sherry. To his right, also JV football coach and assistant varsity, Kenny Rapp. To his right in the black polo there, he is our defensive coordinator for the varsity, that's Ryan White. To his right, our offensive coordinator at the varsity, that's Kellen Bosler. And our new head coach this year for the varsity football Dragons is Jay Pope. And now, without any further ado, we're going to invite Coach Pope to start out the football portion of our recognition ceremony.
Like Dr. Nick said, we're going to make it pretty quick tonight. Coach Schwent's trying to get home, watch the new Rams play with OBJ and Von Miller, so we're going to fly through this thing pretty quick. First and foremost, we need to start off by thanking everybody in this room. Our community, all sports boosters, Tyler Brown, Casey Kohler. There's so many hands that go into making a football season successful, and a lot of it is behind the scenes. And I knew nothing about it until this year, obviously being my first year. And without all these people, I would have been lost. And it's a testament to these kids' success, the amount that our community and these people have given us. The parents, we asked a lot out of you guys this year, and I know it was hard. It was really hard, especially younger guys. Getting these kids here at 5:30 for practice was hard, and that was a big ask. But I feel like the success these guys had, hopefully that's made it worth it. And hopefully moving forward, you can see that we did those things for a reason. And I hope more than anything that your sons thank you for that, because we surely thank you for everything you've done for us. One parent in particular I have to recognize, Mrs. Johns. She fed these boys before every game and after every game, and it was a huge task. It's hard feeding a family, let alone feeding a family of almost 70 people twice each Friday. So thank you so much for that. It was a huge burden. This next group we need to thank, some of our managers this year that weren't on our team. These guys helped us every Friday night. Alex O'Brien, Tyler Sherry, and Tristan Rapp. These three young men had a lot of fun for us, I think, and we loved having them there every day. Certainly two of these guys hopefully will be Dragons for us. Working on the Sherry kid, maybe we can get down here and be a Dragon one day too. So thank you to those three young men for helping us. And these assistant coaches, there are no words I can say to these guys to let them know how much I appreciate them this year. It was a crazy year. We all went through so much, and I don't know that we could have done without each other. And a lot of what they sacrifice can't be made up. And what I mean by that is their families give up so much to them. And I don't know that there's anything I could say to their children to thank them enough for letting us feel their dads to help these 60 guys every day. And again, there's no words I can really thank them enough. So thank to these great coaches. We did an end of the year survey with your sons, and one of the questions on there was, what coach impacted your life the most? And every one of these guys had at least 2 kids that said they impacted their lives. So that's just a credit to these guys and who they are and why they do what they do. So thank you, assistant coaches. And the last group that I want to thank is the players. We talked June 1st, and we talked a lot. You guys had a choice, and you chose to do hard things, and you chose to pursue success, and you chose to pursue it the right way. And like Brian's prayer that he gave, you guys were real winners at the end of the season, and it was all how you approach the season and the things you chose to do. So thank you for not only letting us serve you, but for being who you are and making this thing work. So thank you, players. So we're going to do this thing a little differently tonight. Our conference hasn't released awards yet, so we really don't have anything to talk about as far as stats and accolades like that. So instead, we decided that we're going to bring up each senior individually, and their position coaches are going to talk about them briefly. Maybe a memory they shared this year, or something that they really enjoyed about this player. So seniors, we're going to go in numerical order. When your coach calls you up, just come up, stand by the podium by him, and once he's done, you can head on back and we'll call the next guy up. So first up will be Zach Boyer.
All right, Zach, you can come up here with me so I'm not all by myself. I feel very fortunate to be able to talk about Zach. All you seniors know I could say a bunch of nice things about all you. I did after the Valley game. You know where my heart's at with all you. So I'm going to rattle off some stats here, blow your mind a little bit. Zach, at the end of the season, rushing, 28 carries, 419 yards. That's about 15 yards per carry. In 11 games, that's a little over 38 yards per game. His longest one was a 90-yarder, and he had 4 rushing touchdowns. Receiving, 38 receptions, 1,104 yards. That was a little over 29 yards per carry, a little over 100 yards per game. His longest was 78, and he had 21 receiving touchdowns. So to total that out, he had a total of 1,523 yards, which was 23 yards per touch. That one to me was the biggest stat. Every time he touched the ball, he got at least 23 yards, basically. 138 yards per game and 25 total touchdowns. I've been talking about crazy stats since Zach was a freshman, when he scored in every single way, which I've never seen happen before. He is an outstanding athlete, but even more so, I just had so much fun every day coming to practice and seeing his face and hearing his comments, and that's the thing I'll take away the most, the yards and the stats and all that. Did you know you had 0 passing touchdowns this year? He had probably 25 passing touchdowns in practice. That probably averaged 50 each time. But another cool stat, he had, at one point in time, through a span of 3 games, he had nine receptions in a row that went for a touchdown. So, and it would have been 10 if it weren't for a spring camper hold. And then our offensive coordinator then giving the ball to spring camper for a touchdown right after. So that was a pretty crazy one too. Nine times he caught the ball in a row, he scored. But more on Zach as a person. Like I said, it was just so much fun seeing him every day, and he didn't ever miss. Throughout the summer lifting, there was quite a few times where we'd be like, man, I'm happy you're in here, and he'd be like, yeah, I think I'm going to take Monday off. But he never did. He was always there, and so much fun to be around. That's what I'm going to remember, more than the crazy touchdowns, more than breaking tackles. It's the memory I'll have is just the jokes from practice. And I can't talk about Zach and everything he's done without thanking the people around him for him. Caden Buick, Caden Fly, Squires, Spring Camper. Thank you guys for helping Zach get where he was, because without you guys all working together like I talked to you about since you were freshmen, all that stuff wouldn't be possible. And I know Zach thanks you too. But I love you, I'm proud of you, and thanks for just being a part of it the whole time.
Come on up here, Tom. I get the privilege of talking about Tom O'Brien. For stats, Tom had 53 tackles on the year. 10 of them was for a loss. He had 4 sacks and a fumble recovery for a touchdown that I think it was on Paul's butt block. I don't remember which one it was. That was Tom was second on our team in tackles. Tom was a 2-year starter for me on defense. He played our nickel position. which put him on the edge, kind of on the strong side of the offense. Now, the way we played our defense, Squires will tell you, was different each week, but the nickel was a very versatile position. Sometimes, seriously in one game, maybe even 3 plays, Tom might be playing defensive end, then outside linebacker, then he might be covering somebody, and never shied away from it. Teams had 2 choices. They could either run away from him, or they could bring blockers at him. And every time Tom would come off the sideline and say, what can I do better? I said, Tom, you got 2 guys blocking you every time, just keep working. And he never shied away from it. He always wanted to make the play, even if they ran away from him. What can I do better? Like, well, they ran away from you, Tom. We can't do anything about that. Despite that focus, the offense was always focused on him. He always rose to the occasion. Tom took his role seriously. He always wanted to take responsibility. If there was a touchdown, it could be an 80-yard bomb the other way, and he'd want to know, I know, I could have done better. I should have covered that guy. Like, we didn't even cover that in practice, Tom. It didn't matter. He wanted to take responsibility, never made excuses, always knew he just wanted to make the play. He also had 3 carries for 28 yards, I think, in the Fredericktown game, but we don't care about that side of the ball, because he was a defensive guy. He was a defensive guy both years, with me all the way through. Just a real selfless young man. I know he's going to do great things in life. Thank you.
All right, Carter Plum. One day I can hope I would. You know, I remember back when I first had a meeting with these guys in spring, kind of meeting the team, and I saw Carter in there. It's like, okay, kid never played football, not sure what to expect. Honestly, I didn't think he was going to show up June 1st, but he did, and he worked his tail off the entire time. And I think Carter is the perfect example of a selfless kid. It's football night, right? It is now? Okay. Now. And I think it gets lost a lot in today that people are specializing in, and that's fine. But there's a lot to love about sports and just being with your friends, and you don't necessarily have to love the sport you're in the most to love it and to have fun. And Carter, is more than anything, is a symbol of that and represents that. But as a player, I would never guess that he was a first-year player. Going through summer camp and then watching him through practices and the way he moves and the skills he brought from basketball with him to play the cornerback position was unreal. I really wish I could have seen you play for years. I think he could have really gone somewhere. But I don't know your stats offhand. You had 5 picks, a bunch of tackles. The thing that matters to me is every time I saw you, you had a smile on your face. And you were always encouraging friends. And that's what I'll always remember the most. And that's what I think. Clayton Squires. I thought very hard about what to say about Clayton. Try to keep it nice. I feel like every interview I had this year, his name came up, and it was always the same. He's 5'4", 6", somewhere in there. He might weigh 130 pounds with his pads on. And it took everything I had every time to convince people that don't look at the stats. Look at how he plays the game. And he plays the game so much bigger than what his physical ability says about him. I remember watching the Festus game Saturday morning after we had won. And one of the first couple plays, I just saw this streak on the film when we're on defense. And then I saw that big kid that's going to bail on his butt. I was like, what the hell just happened? Like rewound real slow. Because you couldn't really see. But it was number 23. And that's just how he played the game. And the story I think I'm going to remember the most, and something that reminds me of him more than anything, we were at practice one day, early in the season, and some of the kids around me just kind of stopped practicing, and they were looking the other end of the field. And up on the hill where the SG is, there's this big dog coming down the hill. It's like, okay. So it kept coming, and it got on the field, so I go running down because I thought I was going to eat one of the freshmen. And it turned out it was just a real nice dog or whatever. And But the reason I share that story is that's what I think about when I think about Squash. When he's out on the field, he's a dog, and he plays like a dog, and he's mean. But when you get up to him, look at him, he's just a goofy kid that loves to have fun. You rub his head, he's just going to laugh. So, it was a great season. Loved every minute of it, loved every minute of coaching. So thanks, sir.
Before I call my player up, I want to chime in on Zach and Carter here a little bit. What Coach Schwent said about Zach not having a touchdown pass this year, and he probably had about 25 in practice. Actually, in the Valley game, when we went up 21-21, I wanted to call a jet sweep to Zach and have Aiden run a Q wheel and a throwback to him. And Coach Pope, Zach, you can blame Coach Pope because he wouldn't let me run that. So it probably would have been a touchdown, probably about 28-21. So, yeah. So blame Coach Pope on that one. Carter, so that was probably the second day of camp. We were looking for a backup quarterback. And we're like, Carter, he's a baseball kid, let's call him over here. So he comes over here, throws one pass. Well, okay, Carter, go back. So that was the end of that. All right, I'm going to talk about Mr. Caden, Coach Biat. Come on up. Biat or Biat? I never knew. I'll go with Biat. All right, so Caden has been a 2-year starter for us, both offensively and defensively. He's definitely going to be hard to replace because he did so much for us, and he basically did whatever we asked of him. Caden was a receiver, tight end, played wing for us offensively, and then he was an outside linebacker defensively. You could always find him in the weight room getting better, and truly was a great leader for us on and off the field. Offensively, Caden had 9 receptions on the year for 132 yards and 4 touchdowns. Defensively, he had 19 tackles, 1 sack, and 6 tackles for a loss and 1 interception. He was one of few that played both sides of the ball, and he was so versatile for us, offensively and defensively. I pulled Caden over after the Valley game, and I told him, I said, Caden, you're not the type of kid that's going to get all the touchdowns. You're not going to be, you're not the most flashiest kid out there, but you know what? You're probably one of the hardest working kids I've ever coached. You're selfless. You basically do whatever you have to do to make the team better, and that's Caden in a nutshell. It takes a lot to do what he did, game in and game out. He was our best blocking wide receiver. To be honest, a lot of the touchdowns that some of these guys had was probably because of Caden blocking downfield, and it takes a lot to do that, knowing that you're not going to score, but you're willing to go downfield and block for somebody else, and that was Caden. If you had 11 of him on offense or defense, you'd be set, because it was never about him. It was always about the team, and we take guys like that all day. We're definitely going to miss you. We wish you the best of luck in whatever you do, and thanks for being an important part of laying the foundation for what we have and the vision that we have as a team and as a goal going forward. So keep Coach Biat. You'll be missed, buddy.
Austin. While he's coming up here, I'm going to defend myself. The last time Coach Bosler wanted to throw it up was second quarter against Festus. So let me throw it. We threw a pit. And Coach White's defense had to bail us out. So the only reason we won the game. So the first day I was here, I started cleaning out the old equipment. If you've ever been in there, it's just 40 years of random stuff stuffed in there. And as I'm cleaning this thing out, I find this bag. I open it up, and I was like, I found the Holy Grail. I pull it out, it was just like 12 cowboy collars. You know what a cowboy collar is? It's what the old school fullbacks wear. It just makes you look mean. First thing I thought of was Austin McBride's got to wear that this season. If he doesn't wear it, he's not playing. So we gave it to him, and he wore it. And just watching that hair flow over the top of him in practice every day was awesome. Austin did a lot of great things this year. He rushed for over 1,000 yards. It's the first time it's happened in a long time here. But more than anything, I felt like when we needed to send a message from the offensive standpoint, he did. Because if you watched him run, he never ran away from people, he ran at you. There were so many times this year where he just broke through the line, and he could have swerved to the left and just went untouched, but he would see that safety back there and say, you know what, I'm better than you. This is St. Jim football. Yeah. And I feel like we haven't had that mentality here in a long time. I just want to thank you for bringing that back. And over the summer, I happened to sit down with Adam Schwent, and we were just talking about what St. Jim football means and all the history behind it. And Austin's name came up because of the way he ran football, and it brought tears to Adam's eyes because he saw a lot of himself in Austin. And selfishly, I kept saying that this year too. Watching Austin run with that helmet on under our lights, it takes you back. It takes you back to something special. Selfishly, I would yell at Coach Bother to keep feeding him the ball just because I wanted to watch it one more time. And another part of that story was I asked Adam, what made him want to be a St. Jim football player? And he says he remembers being a kid and watching Jason Boyer run and the way he ran the football. So when he was out on Friday nights in the practice fields, he said he was Jason Boyer pretending to be. And I happened to share a classroom with middle school. And I overheard a sixth grader this year talking about playing football out here during one of our games. And it makes me happy and fills my heart knowing that there's kids looking up to Austin McBride and pretending to be Austin McBride on Friday nights. That way, when it's their turn, they're going to run like he did. So, thank you for being a tough kid. I'm super proud of you.
Elijah Holyfield. Come on up. Eli came into this season knowing that he wouldn't be able to play the majority of the games due to an injury that occurred last year. His work ethic never wavered. He continued to come to the morning workouts and was at all the practices and games. Eli could have decided at any point of the season that 2 games just wasn't worth it, but he continued to work like a madman. Most days at practice, you'd see what looked like Eli reenacting a Rocky montage through his own workouts, flipping tires, running around the field, doing wind sprints. It was impressive. Nobody was making him do those things, do these workouts. He was just doing them on his own because playing SGHS football mattered to him. Eli's work ethic has always been one of the strongest attributes. His ability to push through his pain and discomfort to attain a goal is something that separates him from a lot of his peers. Leadership can be present through a variety of avenues. Eli, without a doubt, displayed senior leadership throughout this season, and I am confident he will continue with that leadership as he pursues a future in the United States Marines. We wish you the best, and thank you for your dedication to our program. Lane and Karen, come on up.
Lane and I go way back since his freshman year. For whatever reason, he decided not to play after that point, and every day I just pounded on him. I don't know why he didn't want to play. I'm busy, I gotta work, blah, blah, blah. Same excuses all the time. Well, finally, we got to this season, all of his coaches were sitting in the coach's office watching the kids show up dead tired. It was the first day of weights at 5:30. And who do I see? He looked like he was wearing swim trunks, but he was there at 5:30, just landing. I was like, okay, that's a start. And then he kept showing up, and he showed up every day, put in the work that needed to be done to be successful. And that's exactly what I perceive or view this season as success. He's a St. Jim kid, or how I like to picture him. Hard-working kid, tough. Pretty sure I could go tell him to fight that wall over there if I do until he's tired. But overall, just a good quality athlete, good quality individual. What he brought to the team this year is not something you could put in stats. He had 19 tackles, 7 assists, and 2 for loss. That doesn't show everything that he put for us, Coach Sherry and I. the amount of effort that he put in, the example he set throughout the year is something that'll carry on to the younger kids for this coming season after this one, and the one after that, and the one after that. So I can't thank him enough, and I really appreciate you finally giving football a second chance, all right? So.
Coach Pope talked about Adam Schwent and Jason Boyer. I've known Jason a long time. I don't remember him having a bad hairstyle in high school. Got a little silver through the years. I do remember Schwent having a questionable choice of hair. If kids are patterning themselves after McBride in like 20 years or whatever it's going to be, I'm glad I'll be retired. First guy I'm going to talk about is Cole Falk coming up. Falk. Fortunately, this was at 6 p.m., 6 a.m., not Cole's thing. Thursday morning practices. We generally joke about what time Cole would get there. It's about 6:08 on average, but he'd get there. The first thing I mentioned, don't judge me because there's a reason I'm giving this. Cole had 2 tackles and a tackle for a loss. And if you're like, man, why is he doing those stats? There's a reason for that. His stats weren't why he was valuable to us. A good team needs a lot of Cole Falk. Cole was always willing to jump in. He was always the first one in on scout team. Whatever, if it was DN, linebacker, if we were doing inside run and we didn't have somebody, he played running back. He was always willing to jump in. Cole's not the biggest dude. Friday nights probably weren't going to be his thing. He made us better through the week because he was always in on scout team. He was always going to make our team better. He was always going to give us an opportunity to win on Fridays. Lasting memory I'll have of Cole and Will Vaughn. We're playing Valley. It's heated. Like Coach Bowser said, as he was trying to justify a play call, it would have been an interception for a touchdown. It's heated. I don't know at what point of the game, but Vaughn's helmet breaks. And we're going straight Waterboy style. They're switching helmets in the middle of the game. False running down on kickoff, making the tackle, and he's running off the field and handing his helmet to Vaughn. And I'm like, what are we doing? Into the game, it's out of hand. We're trying to get Falk on offense. I don't have a helmet. And I'm like, we got 40 kids on the sideline and half of them ain't playing. Can we get this dude a helmet? But Cole Falk was willing to share his helmet. But that was the kind of guy he was. He made us better every week, and whether it was noticed or not, we appreciate that. Next guy I have is Dale Post. Dale had 27 tackles, 20 solos, a sack. That was for like an 18-year loss against Valley. 8 tackles for loss and a fumble recovery. I'm going to give a shameless plug here. Offensively, he anchored an offensive line that blocked for a 1,000-yard rusher. Our quarterback had almost 2,000 yards passing. An offense that averaged over 40 yards a game and gave up only 4 sacks. He's a tremendous help to Coach Rapp and I and Coach Bonnell on offense. We got thrown into the offensive line play, and having a guy like Dale anchoring that took a lot of pressure off of us. Dale's a coach's dream. He doesn't say anything. Even if he might be right, he's not going to say anything. Extremely humble, but he's very driven, very confident, very motivated. He was always first in line. He wanted to learn. He wanted to get as many reps as he could. I'm sure that other defensive linemen got very tired of whenever we were trying to demonstrate. Rapp got hurt like carrying dummies, so he's not in very good shape. I'm old. I'm the oldest guy on the staff. So whenever we just got tired of, just do it like Dale does. Just do it like he does. I don't know. They heard that a lot. His defensive numbers, I said 27 tackles. That's neither here nor there. That doesn't reflect the fact that teams ran away from Dale. He anchored his side of the defensive line, and they ran away from him. So I know at times he got frustrated. He was like, I don't think my numbers are as good as they were. Well, no, they're not as good as they were last year. Teams aren't running at you. So that's a big part of that. His end of season accolades will show that. So yeah, don't work that back in. You're gonna get plenty of patches. He always knew his assignments, always knew exactly what to do. It took about half the season for Coach Pope and Coach Rapp and I to, for some reason, Coach Bowser just couldn't figure out that we need to run stretch left. I don't know why we can't run it right. Well, we can run it right, but I'm going to tell you it's better to the left. Big reason that was Dale was really good at blocking stretch. So once we did it, it was amazing how much better we ran stretch. Good job, Coach Bowser. The big thing I'll remember about Dale is we were playing with Valley, hadn't played with him for a while, and he made 3 or 4 huge plays. And that's about how Dale looks most of the time, whether it's good or bad, that's about what you're going to do. And he made some huge plays. And seeing Dale get up, I'm all like emotional. Flex, screen, like, that's awesome, because you don't see that out of Dale very often. Like I said, he was a dream. He gave us a good chance to win. He competed every down. Thank you.
Paul, come on up. Unfortunately, Paul didn't play any offense, so I can't rip on Coach Bowser right now. But I'll figure out a way. Just give me a second. When Coach Pope and us divvied up the names of the seniors and who we were going to have to talk about, and I got Paul, and I immediately was excited and then kind of a little pressured because I don't think I can put into words how much Paul meant to me, Coach Sherry, Bonnell, and the coaching staff. And I think the kids right here have just shown what he meant to us. Last year, Paul came out, first year of football, right? Last year? Would you play sophomore year? Sophomore year? I wasn't varsity, so last year was my first year of varsity. And Coach Wyke and I had talked about, we got to get Paul in the weight room, get him doing some more flexible drills. And Paul put in probably the equivalent of the work that we wanted him to, and about 10 times more than that. We started weights last year in November. Paul was there every single day. Every single day from then, from January up until when we started our morning practice. When we got to camp, we started doing flexibility drills. Paul hated it, hated bear crawls. By the end of it, he was doing it like a champ. Paul never questioned us. He was going to put in whatever amount of work it would take in order for him to get a significant amount of play time. And then when the season came, Paul started. But none of that to me matters as much as what it was having Paul on our team. Paul created, which we were talking about earlier in the coach's office, probably one of my top moments of my short coaching career, and probably plays of the season for me, was Paul was in on defense. We forced the team to punt. And if I had to put money down on who was going to block the punt, it would, no offense, Paul, but it wasn't going to be you. And I'll be darned. All of a sudden, I see Paul get in there and stick his big old mid up and slap the ball out of the air. And I think I saw Coach Pope probably jump about 15 foot there at that point. I would have tried that, but as Coach Sherry said, I would probably hurt myself. But the excitement that he brought to us on that play is what he brought to us the entire season. So for me to give the speech right now, like I said, I'm doing a terrible job of it. I can't put that into words, and his presence will be missed next year. I hope that the younger guys took something from Paul, his work ethic, and the way he showed up to practice every single day, wanting to put in that work and just to enjoy life and to come out and enjoy football, being around his friends. I hope younger guys took something from that. I did. He made me a better coach and a better person, and I appreciate that for him. One thing I will not miss is getting completely abused every day in practice. So we'll line up, I know Coach Schmidt, who is not here tonight, would probably appreciate it, but we'd line up to hit the sled every day, and I had to make sure I wasn't lined up on Paul's side, or else I was going to get hit every single time. So finally got wise to it and moved away the other side, which left our other coach, Schmidt, lining up on that side, and Paul pretty much abused him the entire season. So, but anyway, love you, buddy. I appreciate everything you brought to us. I appreciate everything you did for the team.
All right, our last senior, coming up here, Tanner. Tanner had 70 tackles on the year, 6 for a loss and a sack. That led our team. You know, every year we got a team leader in tackles, but it's not every year that it's a kid who, that was really the first time he's played defense for us. I don't even think really played much last year since we didn't really have much of a JV season. To tell you the truth, coming into the season, I didn't really know what Tanner was going to do for us, maybe run down on kickoff. And he shows up in the fall and just works. Gets better. I go, okay, maybe this kid's gonna play. JJ couldn't play the first game. I needed an inside backer. Okay, Tanner can kind of do it. And he comes to Festus and just plays. And he comes to Valley and just plays. And just the epitome of why we like to coach is a kid like Tanner, because he just shows up and works and does what he needs to do to make the plays in football. That's why we love this sport, because it doesn't have to be the best athlete. He can catch sometimes. You know, he doesn't have to be the fastest, but he's just gonna get there and work. And again, led the team in tackles. He plays inside linebacker. You know, it's a position I coach. I think it's the hardest position on the field. I ask so much of these guys. JJ can tell you the same thing. Any of these inside backers, it's what I expect of them. I expect them to make every tackle. If they don't, why didn't we get there? And that Tanner, well, I'll get there next time. And he did. And it wasn't always pretty, and it wasn't always the best. He had linemen in his face. It didn't matter. Tanner was going to do what he could to make this team better and make our defense better. More than what he brought on the field, it's one of the happiest kids I've ever known. Just always a smile on his face. It didn't matter if it was a 100-degree practice or one of those late 20-degree practices. He'd be cheesing at me and waving. Just, that's Tanner. One of my favorite memories, we saw a lot of sunrises this year. It was the first time we practiced at 6 a.m. And if there was a pretty sunrise over there behind the field, Tanner would be telling you about it. Like, hey, coach, look over there. Hey, coach, it's a pretty sunrise. And then sometimes it was the moon. Hey, coach, the moon's really big over there, because that's how late we practice sometimes. Or early, I guess I should say. Tanner's going to be really hard to replace, more than anything, just because of that attitude and just the fun that he brought to practice. It's a fun sport, and he seemed to enjoy it.
All right, we got just 4 awards that we want to hand out tonight. You know, I'm not one that historically likes the MVP or that kind of thing, because our hardest worker, at some point all these guys were that. At some point every kid up here was our team MVP. At some point all these kids earned hardest worker. So, you know, we kind of thought of some new ways what we could do for awards this year. We settled on our weekly awards that we did. So every week we had 4 awards. We had Scout Team Player, Goon of the Year, Loyal and True, Hog of the Year. So those are the 4 we settled on. So I'll start with Scout Team Player of the Year. So this award, you know, the Scout Team Player is somebody that only plays one side of the football or doesn't get in on varsity. And if you've ever been on Scout Team, it's not fun. In 2019, I made the same speech as Coach Bowser was on Scout Team his entire career. It's just, it's the most unselfish thing you can do, because you don't get awards, you don't get stats out of it, but you make your team better. And each and every day you just go out there knowing that you're going against the best guys on your own team. You got to give it your all to make those guys better. So the Scout Team Player of the Year for this year, there was a lot of times at practice where I didn't think we were good on offense because this kid just kicked our butts. And a lot of our plays weren't working. I just really thought about going home early and maybe starting the soccer team or something. But the more we went back and watched film, it wasn't because we were bad, it was because this kid was really, really good. And he made himself a better football player throughout the season on the scout team alone. And that player is Will Vaughn. next award we'll do, so this was kind of an idea I stole. We went with the Goon mantra this year, so there are certain folks, and I won't say who they are, that refers to us as goons instead of dragons. So instead of that being a derogatory thing, we just embraced it. Because if you look up the definition of a goon, it is somebody that intimidates you and causes fear, and you're scared to go against. So we felt like our defense was a bunch of goons this year. So our idea of a goon is somebody that plays out of their mind and just is relentless on the defensive side of the ball, and people are afraid of. And this year's Goon Award winner is Clayton Squires. This was a really hard pick because our defense, like Coach White talked about, had a lot of unselfish people and a lot of players that played really hard. But again, the fact that teams were afraid of a 5'6", 120-pound kid says a lot. So great. The next one we'll do is pretty self-explanatory. It's the Hog of the Year Award, so best lineman, either offensive or defensive. It's probably no surprise where this one's going. So Dale, you might as well come on up. So every week we vote on, who do we think should get the award this week? Who's the Goon of the Week this week? We send it to all the coaches, and every week we send out Hog, and every week it was Dale. It's like, well, shoot, by week 3 we were out of t-shirts, and Dale had what do you up to, 7 of them? About 7 shirts, and it's like, we got to start picking other people because it's going to be Dale all year. So like Coach Sherry said, he's a coach's dream as far as his ability. It's not only lead, but the way he leads. And he does it through his actions, and we cannot be more proud of the impact he's had at this school. Our last one is the Loyal and True Award. So this award, we vote on weekly. It's based on your character and based on who you are. It doesn't necessarily mean what you do on the field every week, but just a true testament of what our school's about and what we want players in this program to be about at the end of the day. So somebody that's loyal and true is a great leader. There's somebody that gives great effort and just does everything you ask with a smile on their face, and they do everything with their friends and for their friends and selfishly. And again, this was a really tough one to pick because there were a lot of athletes on the team this year that met that bill. But this year's Loyal and True winner is Tanner Weiler. Like I said, it's an award we really strive a St. John football player to be. Like Coach White mentioned, I mentioned on an interview a couple weeks ago, when I left here in 2019, you were like 120 pounds, and there wasn't not a lot of athletic ability there. And when I came back and saw what he had turned himself into, I thought there was no way that this kid is the same Tanner Weiler. And it's nothing that we did as coaches. It's nothing that we did to get him to be that player. He just did it every day by having fun and going to work. And he's a true example of that. If you enjoy what you do and enjoy who you're doing it with, that even though it's hard, it can be fun and you can love it. So thank you so much, Tanner. So we'll just wrap up by handing out the certificates for the people that lettered this year. So Coach Bosler, when we call up your name, you guys can just line the front of the stage down there, and we'll give you guys your certificates. So varsity letter winner, Paul Erins. We can wait till the end to clap for all of them so we can get out of here and watch that Monday night game. Anthony Bader, Aiden Boyer, Zach Boyer, Coach Buat, Carter Burr, Landon Karen, Caden Fly, Hayden Ford, Eli Holyfield, Jordan Jacob Johns. And for those that you don't know, having those two kids back to back messes with your mind more than you will ever know. Nathan Johnson, Carter Klump, Austin McBride, Dalton McBride, Mason Nix, Thomas O'Brien, Thomas PQ, Cole Foff, Dale Probst, Jaden Reinhardt, Cole Roman, Matthew Schmidt, Jacob Schweiger, Brian Schwent, Wyatt Springcamper, Clayton Squires, Landon the Kidney Thompson, Aiden Trollinger, Will Vaughn, Tanner Weiler, and Aiden White. These are your 2021 Varsity Award winners. We did have 4 young men that didn't really get a chance to letter at the varsity level, so we're going to give them provisional letters. So a provisional means if they letter next year, they'll earn a varsity letter for this year as well. And those 4 young men are Noah Burr, Alex Fleeman, Aiden Meyer, and Nolan Walls. The JV Award winners, Gavin Amlong, Vinny, Kyle Bly, Chris Castorena, Chuck Corbett, Corey Crump, Devin Fly, Landon Ford, Gage Gross, Ian Allen, Greg Amlong, Hayden Heberly, Lucas Kellum, Wyatt Kipper, Mason Langenecker, Drew Merriman, David Morris, Tucker Reed, Gus Sheerhoff, Justin Schwent, Gabe Willett, Caleb Wilson, Evan Winters, and Carter Worley. You guys can stay up here for a second, so I want to say something about you guys. You know, we certainly felt as coaches that the amount of work that all these guys put in was certainly worthy of a varsity letter. But at the same time, the way it was written in our handbook, they didn't quite meet it. But the body of work that these young men put in, again, being unable to drive yet, asking so much from you parents of getting them there every day. We certainly are proud of their effort and the growth they've had this year as a group. And hopefully that you guys have watched the guys ahead of you and seen what it's going to take to make your program a success. So thank you guys for all your hard work this year. That's all we've got.
All right, good deal. What a fun season this was. It was just a little different this year. I don't know exactly how to explain it, but every day, every week, it was just fun and exciting from week to week. So thank you to all the players and coaches for an exciting. Coach was talking, I can't remember which coach it was, but they were talking about Paul's block punt. And when that happened at the game, I was off dealing with something stupid. Somebody got stung by a bee or something, I don't know. But I didn't get to see it. And I came back and they're like, oh, you missed it. Paul just blocked a punt. And I was like, no way. Yeah, he just blocked a punt. So I couldn't wait to see the film. When the film got released, and I'm picturing in my head, Paul comes just flying in, and he leaps in the air, he swats it down, and he's just this big man knocking this punt down. And then when I finally get to that clip and I see it, that's not how it happened at all. Let me tell you, his vertical was 0 on that block punt. Didn't make it any less impressive, but he didn't jump at all. But it was great. It was awesome to be able to see it and to hear about that. So one of many great stories from the season. We're going to move on to cheer now. Are you guys both going to talk, or just Coach Dallas? Okay, Coach Dallas is going to do the talking about our fall cheer team. When we are finished, we'll do the 50-50 drawing. When we're finished with cheer and emeralds, we'll do the 50-50 drawing and the banner drawing as well. So Coach Dallas looks like she's ready to go, so you're up.
We didn't even plan to wear leopard print. We're just that good. Okay, so that is Coach Ashley Weiner is my assistant coach. We started out this year with half of our team being brand new to high school cheer. They had to learn totally how to stunt. They have never stunted before, while learning our 80 or more chants, cheers, and dances. They worked very hard, and I'm very proud of how they handled all the changes that we made, because we were making changes if someone was out for COVID, or if there was an injury, then we had to switch things around, and the team took it very well. Imagine being thrown in the air, and your stunt is a little wobbly, then the next practice you're moved to a new stunt and thrown around by 2 other people. Or you have to adjust to throwing a different flyer who moves a little differently. That's quite an adjustment. It doesn't always sound like it, but when you're flying up through the air, it can sometimes end up in a concussion, which we had a few of. I'm excited to see what the next season brings, but sad to say goodbye to those who have chosen not to go on to the winter season. I want to say thank you to my assistant coach, Ashley. I enjoy working with her, and we have become great friends. She pushes the team to be the best they can be. I want to thank Dr. Nix, Dr. Boyd, Mrs. Drury, Mrs. Dunn, and Mrs. Henderson that put up with me and my coaching duties during the year. I want to thank the team for being so awesome to coach. I really had a great time. I'm sure Coach Weiner did too. We want to thank the parents for all the support they've given us, and the cheerleaders, so that they can come to practices and go to camp, go to the games, and keep us stocked with water. Also, thank you to the coaches and the players for such an exciting season. That last game at Valley was awesome. You guys played your heart out. Now for our cheer team. To introduce, I'm gonna call them up. Please walk up here, get your certificate from Coach, and then come on down this way, and please hold your applause to the end. We're gonna start with our freshmen. These are first-year cheerleaders to the high school. Some of them have cheered in the middle school, but they're new to us, and it's very different commitment when you come to the high school. Mariah Abt. Mariah is easy to coach. She works on her jumps a lot on her own, so I can't wait to see the improvement throughout the years. She learns quickly, and she's a hard worker. Hannah Erins. She started out a little quiet, but boy, then she opened up. That girl can talk. She was good at stunting when we had to move around. She was really good at adjusting for us. Sometimes she was a flyer, and sometimes she wasn't even able to fly because it didn't work out in our stunning, and she took that well. So Savannah DeRouche, she doesn't say much, but she's willing to try to do new things. We moved her around a lot too. She was a different flyer on different bases. Sometimes she was a base, and she got pretty good at that too. Ruthie Dunn. Ruthie's funny. She likes to make us laugh. She was moved around to different groups too, and seniority kind of moved her out of the stunt group, but she still was good about it and had a positive attitude. Megan Jarvis, our Megan, she's kind, polite. She was injured a lot of the season, so she didn't get to participate a whole lot in cheer, but when she did, she was a very good base. At camp, she really excelled, and we're looking forward to more things next season, or next year. Sophomores, Sophia DeRouche. She's a second-year cheerleader. She's very quiet, and she's a good listener. But this year, she had to step it up and become loud because a good back needs to be heard, and she did a great job at that. Elena Schemmel, second-year cheerleader. She's nice, and this year she has started talking to us. She's willing to adjust. She's been on many different bases, and she still is a good flyer. Stays tight for us. Addison Guyana. She's a first-year cheerleader. She's a funny little thing. She's a hard worker, and she really seemed to like stunting, which she was excelling at. She worked hard on her jumps. Caitlin Gray, first-year cheerleader. She's shy and she's kind. During COVID, she had some setbacks, but she came back to the team, and she's a very hard worker. I'm moving on to my junior. I only had one junior this year, Miss Kylie Prescotta. She's a third-year cheerleader. She's very upbeat and encourages us. She stepped it up this year in leadership at camp. She had to sit out a little bit due to a concussion, but she still cheered us on from the sidelines. Now my seniors. These girls and Guy, I've worked with quite a bit. Some of them I've had since they were freshmen. I've watched them grow into wonderful young ladies and gentlemen. Lily Adams. Lily's gonna humble out of here. There she is. She's a first-year cheerleader. She was very excited to be on the team. I wish she would have came out sooner. She is very expressive, and she keeps me in check. She was injured a lot during the season, but she kept her head high. Molly Bell. Molly's a fourth-year cheerleader. She's positive. She has good ideas, just like helping out Lily there. She was the one who thought, hey, let's bring her up around back so she can be up here. That's very sweet. She also got moved around. She's a good flyer, but she had to have different bases. We had an injury, we had COVID. She got moved around quite a bit and probably didn't get to fly as much as she would have liked during her senior year. She will be greatly missed. Haley Dimicurio. She's a fourth-year cheerleader. This girl thinks of others a lot. She's a good leader. She led us at camp and during football season, and she's a very great back spot. Gracie Head, fourth-year cheerleader. This girl's strong. She's good at encouraging the others to try new things. Sometimes she's a little scared herself to try new things, but she's a great base. Josh Laws. He's a second-year cheerleader. His jumps have greatly improved, and he likes to do them. Good at motions. He also, when we do the dance, there's a lot of girly moves in the dance. Josh is like, I'm not doing that. So Josh was very good at guyifying the dance, is what we call it. He guyified the dance to make it look not so feminine. Isabella Neal, fourth-year cheerleader. This girl is very optimistic and positive. She's a helpful leader and a great flyer. She's nice and tight, and I look forward to things that we're going to be doing this season. Chloe Walker, fourth-year cheerleader. She's considerate and looks out for others. She can tell when something's wrong on the team, and she comes to me to help me fix it. She's also a great base. I don't want to say goodbye to those cheerleaders of you that will not be cheering with us next season, but I understand, and I know you have to move on. Good luck to you, and you will be missed. Now for the awards. Our Most Improved Award, Savannah DeRouche. Best Technique Award, Isabella Neal. Best Jumps Award, Chloe Walker. We had a real hard time, Coach and I, deciding on all of these awards because so many of you do deserve some of these. We had a lot of most improved, a lot of good techniques, best jumps. The hardest worker was the hardest one because I feel like all of you have given me and Coach your best. I feel like you work hard, you push yourselves hard to be better. I see, like when I'm at work and I see you guys waiting for practice to start, I see you working on jumps or waiting for a game to start. I see that. So this was really hard. We decided Caitlin Gray, hardest worker. During COVID, she had to learn a lot of her chants by herself. Okay, so these are the awards voted on by the team is next. Our award for the Cheerleader Award is the one who has a positive attitude, a commitment to the team, dedication. They compromise and follow the rules and gets along with everyone else. No surprise here, Miss Isabella Neal. And then our Spirit Award. This is somebody who's enthusiastic, smiles, jumps during the games, is positive, encourages the others, and gets along well with others. Miss Kylie Prescotta. I want to thank this cheerleading team for being so great to work with. This was a wonderful season, and I look forward to watching you all become great, wonderful adults. Thank you.
All right. Great job, cheerleaders. It was made mention to Coach Dallas pretty often how sharp you guys looked on Friday nights and how well you did at assemblies and things like that. You guys, the hard work that you guys put in really showed. So thank you very much. And last but definitely not least, our Emeralds, our fall Emeralds. So Coach Kreider, come on up and talk about our Emerald season. And then we'll, like I said, we'll finish off with drawings of 50-50 and banners.
Yeah, Kreider! Hi. Hello. Good evening. I think I'm the shortest one to use this. Can you hear me? I want to start off by thanking all of you who have had the impact on our dance team. I should put locks on that. Whether it's supporting the team in general, sports boosters, those of you who have cheered on my girls and my guy, and just doing the chants and performances with us. Jeff Nix, Jamie Dury, John Boyd, Shelly Dallas, and I really appreciate the help that all of you guys have given me throughout the season. I know there's many more that I'm forgetting, but these are just a few that helped guide me throughout the season because it was kind of new territory for me and it's my first year being head coach. First off, the season was nothing like I had pictured it. It was challenging, tested everyone's limits, tested patience, tested dedication, and most of all, tested our loyalty. The Dragon motto is loyal and true. The three I have left on this team were nothing shy of loyal and true. Without going any further, I want to call my team up. Paris Hoy. Paris, question mark? If I had $1 for every time I heard question mark, we could buy new palms. Paris was the one on the team who was always very flexible, even on the days whenever she had a really bad day. She always wanted to come to practice and always wanted to do whatever needed to make her a better dancer. She always had a smile on her face. It was a very blessing to have you on this team, and I appreciate you. Chloe Wolf. Chloe's my girl who always has suggestions. Whenever we ran into problems or if there was a dilemma, this girl would give me a whole menu of different options I could do. If I didn't like something, she always had different ways to do it. Not only did she do dance, but she also did band, and I know having to do both made some long evenings, tired nights. Chloe is also the one on the team who is very understanding. Despite her worries, she always has a listening ear. And my final one, Lieutenant Carter. story. My thing with Paris was she was a question mark. Lou was, okay, I got you, girl. Lou was the all-time light of the team. Always a hard smile, always had a smile, always had something positive to say, and worked so hard on everything he put his mind to. Lou could be doing a routine on a cheer completely backwards, and I would correct him. He would laugh about it, and the next day came back with it down perfectly. Even though this year was your first year being on the team, I'm so blessed and happy I've been able to watch you grow throughout the season. So this season was very tough, but I would not trade it for the 3 that I have. It was hard for me because I'm only one person, and practices every day got very tiring. There would be some days we come to practice and I'm like, you know what? You guys done? Because I'm ready to go. And they're like, yeah, let's go. So, but there were also nights whenever we stayed after practice even longer just to get one routine down to where we felt confident enough to perform it. There was a lot of self-consciousness with just 3 of us, but I feel like this team pulled it through tremendously and it looked as good as it could. I'm very proud of all 3. After long thoughts and evaluations, I've decided to only give 1 award. And I know you all hope for 3, I'm sorry. You all had great compassion and technique. You all have put in a lot of time and effort into this season. However, this award I've decided to give out is the Emerald of the Year Award. This person means that they were always on time, always smiling, always positive, and always helpful, and all around a great person to have them on the team. Lieutenant Carter. I'm very proud of you. Again, I want to thank all the parents and guardians who helped make this season possible. This was my first year being head coach, and I know it was not a smooth road, but in the end, I'm so thankful I was able to watch these young athletes grow this season. And that's all I got.
Luke probably doesn't know this, but when I first heard that we were going to have a male Emerald, the first thing that went through my mind was, oh boy. Nothing that I didn't want that to happen. Didn't make any difference. I just worried what other people might say and how other people might treat him. I really didn't know anything about the lieutenant, but I can tell you what, at the end of the season, I would take 100 lieutenants on our Emeralds team anytime. He's a fantastic young man. He's a great example of not judging somebody that you don't know just because you don't agree with something. So, like I said, Lieutenant's a great young man, and thank you so much. It's been great getting to know you. So. If you have the winning ticket, come on up. If not, don't come up. $41 is the winning tonight. Straight to McDonald's. Maybe even Elson. All right. Oh my gosh, I'm getting old. 835021. Oh, you're a liar. Okay, if you haven't, you can come up after we're done here. Banners. Banners aren't in yet, but when they come in, what I'll do is I'll basically just get a hold of whoever's name is on these tickets, and we'll get the banner to that kid as soon as possible. Hopefully it's not too long before those come in. We'll start with the dance banner. I'm not sure if we got it here or not. We did, so I'll give that to Coach Kreider and she can have it. Cheer. Winning banner for cheer goes to Bella Neal. So Bella, when that comes in, I'll make sure I get a hold of you and get that banner to you. And football. Actually, before I draw this, I don't want to forget, Mr. Ricardo would like to see all of our award winners. So if you got one of the special awards. So the ones that were plaque and medal, okay. Plaques and medals. If you got a plaque or a medal tonight, stick around. Mr. Ricardo wants to take a picture out in the lobby. He'll meet you out in the lobby, okay? All right. Banner for the football team. I wouldn't be surprised. That guy won everything. Carter Burr. He's like, I didn't even know I bought one. All right, thank you so much for coming this evening, for taking just a little bit of time to celebrate our cheerleaders, our Emeralds, and our football team, and their accomplishments both as teams and as individuals. So thank you so much. Have a great evening. Drive safely.